Uh, I'm Kuria Stephen.
Korea Stephen. Okay, and what farm? And your location of your farm and the name of your farm.
My farm is in Kenya,
Okay,
Nakuru, Nakuru City, Solai County.
okay, and
Yes.
and the coffee is the name of the farm is Liwani. Is that correct?
Yeah, my farm is Liwani Coffee Estate in
Okay,
Solai Ward.
July Ward. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So first and foremost, tell me, how long have you owned the coffee farm? What got you into coffee altogether?
Yes, I planted the coffee in 1984.
And
So I've been in coffee business for the last 38 years.
and you purchased the coffee farm. Is it something that you always had an interest in, or is it something that was an opportunity for you to make a better living for you and your family?
Actually, it was not an opportunity. I just developed interest in the farming
Mhm.
because formerly I was working with the civil service. And while I was working in the civil service around Nairobi, there's a district called Kiambu. In Kiambu, they grow coffee. And I was working with the coffee farmers while I was in Kiambu. So I got interested with coffee farming from that time when I realized how much money they were getting from the coffee produce. So I decided that I should also get into that business. And there I was, 1984. I got a transfer from Kiambu district to Nakuru. And then I bought land here in Solai. And from there, I started planting coffee. So I planted the first stem in 1984, April, because we always plant during the beginning of the heavy rains. So I planted. And then the other, that time I planted 8 acres. And then in 1984, I bought another land, 4 acres.
Mhm.
Then I planted another 4 acres of coffee. And in 2010, I planted another 3.5 acres of coffee. So
Oh
in
wow,
total now I have 15 acres of coffee.
that's awesome. So
Yes.
when you started to plant the coffee, is it something that someone taught you, somebody mentor you, or just self taught?
Uh, for sure, uh, I used to have a friend who was a doctor in Kiambu.
Mm-hmm.
So that doctor was a doctor and was also a coffee farmer. So after work in the evening, I used to visit him in his clinic and then we would talk about coffee. So he would give me all the stories, the good stories. He'll tell me how he bought his car, how he built his house, how he educated his children. And he told me much of the money did not come from the clinic, but was coming from the coffee. So I also developed interest. So I said I'll do both. While I was still in office,
Mm-hmm.
I started doing now coffee at the same time working in the civil service, mostly on the weekends when I'm not in the office.
Awesome. That sounds good. That's a great story. So you mentioned that you have 15 acres of coffee today. Um,
Yes, I do.
how, how many uh, farmers do you have on these farms producing picking the coffee beans? Do you have working for you?
You mean the farmers or the the workers.
Yes, the workers.
The workers. At the moment, I maintain a team of 10. 10 farmers are permanently employed.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes now to picking,
Yeah.
picking, when we have the heavy peak, we go up to 150 people per day. So that is the much we do.
Mm.
Mm.
And when is that peak? What time of year when you have that peak of more coffee beans that grows on the farm?
Like for instance, in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
we had the El Nino rains. So during that heavy rains,
Yes.
we produced a lot of coffee. Actually, we produced around 150 bags of parchment one coffee
Mm.
from that farm which we planted coffee in 1984. So when we have a lot of rain, actually we have bumper harvest of coffee. And what we're actually looking forward is that if we could irrigate our coffee, we could produce as much as we did in 1999.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
So talk about importing coffee. Is it did you of course first started to import coffee in the native country, and I'm sure some in around the continent, but when did that start for you? When did you start to, okay, I have enough coffee beans to distribute to different places? When did that start happening for you?
1999.
Okay. And talk about that process.
Actually, the process is wrong because it's a big bureaucracy. But actually, it's a process. You have to start with the government. You have to apply for a coffee buyer's license, and when you apply for the coffee buyer's license, you have to attach a 3-year coffee statement that you have supplied, and also it will also show the amount of money that you have gotten from that coffee. And then from there you have to produce a good conduct, like a good conduct license that is from the government, that you are a well-behaved person. And then you have to get an insurance for that coffee.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you have to get a license from the NEMA, that is from the National Environment Management Authority. And then you have to get a license from the WARMA, Water Resources Management Authority, because you have to own a coffee factory and they have to license you to own one. So the National Environmental Management Committee has to ensure that you observe all the rules and the regulations that are required, so that you do not pollute the environment. So you should have environment clean because you are living with the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. Then the other one, you have to get a license from the Ministry of Health, because
Okay.
actually you are dealing with the coffee, and again you have employees here. So
Right.
in case of anything bad going bad wrong, then the Ministry of Health will have ensured that you have the right medication.
Mm.
Yes.
So talk about some of the countries do you ship your coffee to. Do you know, like, where do Solai coffee beans are being shipped? I know Peter, as I mentioned before, he's bringing a lot of attention to Solai coffee in the farm here in the States. But what other countries are you working or collaborating with?
Currently, we are collaborating with USA,
Mm-hmm.
and we ship our coffee to Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then from there,
uh-huh.
it is now distributed to the other cities.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a warehouse in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Then from there, we distribute it to other cities where it is required.
That sounds good. Talk about the impact of, it's different the way farmers pick coffee beans and produce the coffee beans and have it distribute to different places. Talk about how today's technology impact farmers and how they, not only just pick the coffee beans, but also produce it and prepare it to be for distribution.
Actually, from the farm, we had picked only the ripe beans. We pick the ripe beans, and then before we take it to the pulping machine, we have to sort it again because of to remove the overripe ones. We don't pulp the red ones with the overripe beans. We separate them. So the ripe ones, the overripe ones, we dry them to be buni. Buni is coffee that has not been pulped, or not, which has not gone through the wet system.
Yes.
So from there, we just pulp the red beans, and then after pulping, we ferment it. Fermentation takes about 12 hours. And then we check whether the fermentation is complete. When we test, we just test with our own fingers. When it is gritty, we realize that it doesn't have the mucilage.
Okay.
So from there, we just wash it. Then we wash it up to the time when it is clean. Then we use the float method for grading. So to start with, you get the right ones, and then you get the second ones, and then you get the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the right ones is what we call the P1, the PL, and then the second ones we call them the P2s, and the first ones we call them the P1s. So the P1s are the first grades, grade AA. And then from there, we take it to the drying tables. We turn it within 1 hour. It has already removed it has already removed the moisture, and then after that we just close it.
Okay.
Then wait for the next day. Then the next day we open it and we turn it up to around 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock again we wrap it again until the following day. So we do that for 7 days. By the end of the 7th day, coffee is already dry.
Oh.
From there, we remove it from the drying table and take it now we take it now to so it has to remain there until the time when we are ready now to take it for milling. So before we take it for milling, we have again to take it out for another 1 hour. So after that 1 hour, it gets the moisture that is required. We have the moisture meter. Then we measure. And our measurement goes that at the stage of between 11 and 12
okay
percent. we take it that coffee now is dry. And when we take it for milling, it's always good. We have never got it back that it is not dry.
So talk about the impact of the farmers. You know, without the farmers, we wouldn't have coffee. Do you think?
I'm not getting you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Increase the volume.
No, you can't. Can't hear me?
The sound is down.
Okay, 1 second.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello? Now I'm hearing you.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so I want to talk about the farmers in itself and the impact of the farmers. If it wasn't for the farmers, we wouldn't have coffee as we know it. Talk about the impact of the farmers, why it's so important that the farmers are being compensated in the way they should be compensated for their work.
Wait a minute. The sound is not coming out clear.
It's not coming out clear? Hold on 1 second.
Check on your side.
I'm going to check my mic.
Can you hear me?
You have muted your mic.
Have you muted your mic?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Can't. Okay. So, all right. So my question is about the farmers. We know without the farmers, we wouldn't have the coffee that we have. Talk about the impact. Talk about the impact of the farmers and the way they should be compensated.
We can't hear you. Can we log out and come in with another device?
Okay.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Thank you.